All right, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2018 Mazda Mx-5, also known as the Miata. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed transmission. If you'd like to read more of my thoughts, head over to carmarshall.com/overdrive. We'll be writing a complete article about the Miata RF. As well as if you'd like to see my videos early, head on over to my Patreon, where for only $2 a month, you can see all my videos before they're made public here on YouTube. But let's get back to that 2.0 liter inline 4. Well, it's part of the Sky Active family, and what that means is that's Mazda's new family of engines that gets relatively decent gas mileage. It makes a decent amount of power. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. It's really nice that you get a 6-speed. That is a huge improvement over the 5 speeds because you get that extra highway gear. The clutch is really light, very noticeably light. And I like that. It's very easy to get in and out of gears, and going along with that, the shifter feels super notchy. It's super easy to tell what gear you're in, and it's one of the signature trademarks of Miatas is that signature transmission feel. It feels really notchy, it's really easy to get into gear, and I really love it. And last but not least about the Miata is that it is rear wheel drive. This is also the Miata Club, so the Club trim level comes with a limited slip differential. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have 3 sort of gauge pods. In the center is my tachometer. I love a center mounted tachometer. I think all sports cars should have center mounted tachometers. It really reinforces that idea of fun, as well as, you know, when you are doing more spirited driving, that's what you're going to be looking for. On the right is the speedometer, and then on the left is a screen that is configurable. So right now it's showing me temperature, miles till empty, as well as my odometer. But then I can switch that. I have odometer B, service due, a compass, as well as my fuel range, and then we're back to MPG. Now the interesting thing about this gauge is that there's a little sort of reset push dial looking thing up above the gauge. Now normally on like an older car like on my RX-7, this would be used to reset the odometer. Well, that isn't the case here on the Miata. When you push that little stick, it actually increases the sort of area in which you can see the coolant temperature. So once you hit that, it gives you a lot more precise look at the temperature. This is absolutely awesome for track days or any sort of time that you think the car might be running hot. If you're doing some back canyon driving and you really want to look at how specific the temperature is in the car, you can hit that and get a lot more precise look. I really like that. Interesting thing on the gauges is that it'll actually recommend gears for you to switch to. So right now I'm cruising in 4th, but it says 4 aero 5th. So it actually wants me to shift up to 5th. I like how it gives you suggestions and doesn't force you. I drove a 2017 Camaro. I was going 1st to 2nd, and it wanted me to go 1st to 4th to save gas. I didn't like that, but the Miata doesn't force you. It just gives you a nice suggestion. On the steering wheel, on the left, you get controls for the audio, as well as that screen up on the left. Then on the right, you get your cruise control settings. So there are 2 buttons on the left, one for traction control and one for blind spot monitoring. So you could turn both of those off. Yes, the Miata actually does have blind spot monitoring, so it'll warn you when someone is sitting in your blind spot. Then in the center, you do get an infotainment screen. Now this is my biggest gripe with modern Mazdas before they switch to Apple Carplay. Apple Carplay is now offered in the vehicles, but this does not have Apple Carplay. It has the Mazda mapping system, Mazda audio, all of that stuff, and I really dislike it. I think it's clunky. I think it's kind of hard to use. I don't think it's very intuitive. But if you do opt to get Apple CarPlay, which is offered from the dealer, this will solve all of the issues. And also, you do have to take into account that this is a Miata and that the infotainment system really doesn't matter all that much. Down below the infotainment, you get your heating and air conditioning controls. Then you have your seat warmers on the right, and then the almighty, the reason I'm doing this review, the RF, the retractable fastback. Now this is a retractable hardtop convertible. And so I will show a video of it here, of the fastback retracting. And I think this is absolutely awesome. I think this really makes the Miata such a more practical vehicle. Now, before I drove this, I was really thinking to myself, who would buy a retractable fastback? How hard is it to put a soft top down that you need a retractable fastback? You know, I thought old guys would buy this because, oh, you know, their limbs hurt or whatever. They're too old to put the soft top down, but that's really not the case. The case actually is for people who buy this car knowing that it is going to be their only car. If you're someone who's younger or someone who doesn't have a whole lot of money and you go out and buy a brand new Miata, chances are this is going to be your only car. This is going to be your car to get to school or work or go out on date nights and to pick up things and to go to the store. This is going to be your one end all be all vehicle. So for a little extra money, you can actually get the retractable fastback, and it's going to make your life a little bit easier. The road noise is definitely cut down a lot when the top is actually up on the car, as opposed to the soft top. The soft top kind of rattles once you get to highway speed. It kind of does one of these fun jumps up and down. It's not the best at highway speeds, but the fastback, the retractable hardtop, whatever you want to call it, is a lot better at speeds. And also, chances are, in a couple of years, the hardtop isn't going to catch a hole like the soft tops tend to do after years and years of going up and down. This is hard metal. Now, an interesting thing about the operation of the hardtop is that you do have to hold the button in order to raise and lower the roof. You have to actually physically hold the switch, as well as you can't go over 5 miles an hour while doing so. But that can be changed. You can get a little device that plugs in behind the seat and sort of jumps the circuitry for the hardtop and then allows you to one push open and close the roof, as well as you could do it up to 30 miles an hour. Now that is an aftermarket part, that is not factory, but the owner of this car, Rod, he has installed that, and I have to say it's pretty nice. So finishing off the interior after we talked about the retractable fastback, then you get the shifter, and then you get your controls for the center screen. I've talked about this in other reviews. It's nothing too crazy. So if you want to see a more in-depth review of the joystick, definitely go and check out the Mazda 6 review that I did. I do have a glove box in between the seats as well as behind the passenger seat, and I do have cup holders that can be removed and placed at different parts of the cabin. The seats are really comfortable. These are the stock seats. You can get optional Recaro seats from the factory, which are a lot better, obviously, for cornering. You can also get a BBS wheels package, a Brembo brakes package, all of that stuff, but this doesn't have any of that. But I like the seats. The seats are comfortable. I'm about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", and I fit really comfortably in here. Height isn't an issue. Width isn't an issue. It is a smaller car. You will notice that it is smaller, but there are a lot of benefits with that as well, such as the steering is really, really tight. You turn on a dime, parking it's easy, pulling out of driveways is super easy, and that sort of thing. Obviously, there's no back seat to review. One thing before we talk about the exterior is on the outside, there are one-touch door handles, so if you have the key in your pocket, the car is locked, you could just come up and just touch the handle. There's a little button on the handle and the vehicle will unlock. I do like that feature. So we'll cut to the exteriors. I think NDs look amazing. This is called an ND Miata because it's the 4th generation. First gen was NA, then NB, then NC, and now ND. I think the car looks great. This car is in Soul Red, S-O-U-L Red. The only complaint that the owner has about it is that it chips really, really easily. So if you get a Soul Red Miata, or really any Miata for that fact, it would be a really wise decision to get it clear coated or like a clear vinyl put over the paint, because Rod, who owns this, which thank you Rod so much for letting me review it, he doesn't track this car, you know, he doesn't take it on road trips yet, and he's only had it for about 5,000 miles. The car has 15,000 miles on it, and there's already some very noticeable rock chips. So if you do end up buying one of these, I would highly, highly recommend putting some type of protective film or protective paint coating on the outside just to keep it looking good. Because I do think Soul Red is a really good color. I think it's a very vibrant and interesting color, and you're gonna wanna protect that. But overall, I have to say, I love the Miata. I love the MX-5. It's always been the best in the Roadster game. And even this new iteration, this is still one of the best Roadsters you can buy. It's light, it's a lot lighter than the previous generation. It's nimble, it's quick enough. And I'd have to say, really my only complaint about the Miata is the infotainment system, but that's such a minor thing that doesn't really matter. The last thing I'll say about the Miata before we get to the end of the video is that this thing has changed my mood. Right now, as you will notice, I have the top out. It's April, it's the first day of the year here in Illinois that is above 70 degrees, and I'm driving a convertible, I'm driving a Miata. There's no better feeling than this. Even driving to this review, coming out this way, I had about an hour drive, and I listened to music the whole way, and I had the windows down, and I was so excited because I knew that I was going to drive a Miata, I was going to drive a Roadster. This thing just puts such a smile on your face, no matter what. And I absolutely love it. If I were to get any brand new sports car, I think I'd get an ND Miata. They're that good. They're so good. Look, there's a little turn in a neighborhood. I don't know what else I could say. You have to experience a Miata once in your life, or twice in your life, or just buy one. There's nothing better. There is nothing better. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the 2018 Mazda Miata. I want to give a huge shout out to Rod for letting me review his Miata. He does have a YouTube channel as well as an Instagram, both under the name Base Model 3. He has a nearly 500 horsepower Mazda 3 base model that he's been posting about, he's been doing videos about, and he's been building up that. Hopefully one day I should be reviewing that once some tuning issues get worked out, which that'll be an insane review. But definitely go check out his YouTube channel. I'll have a link in the description below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.
There goes a sight from my soul.